Now, I honestly thought that 3 videos would be plenty to discuss everything that we could talk about when it comes to knitting with variegated yarn. But as you can see, we're back for another video. This time it's all about your comments, your thoughts, your opinions, and sometimes your strong opinions about what it's like to knit with variegated yarn. Things that I thought were worth discussing. So grab your knitting and let's settle in for a good chat. Hey nerdy knitter, Tanya here. I'm a certified knitting instructor and a master hand knitter, and I believe knitting's a form of self-care. You can take time for yourself and your creative hobbies like knitting and still create beautiful garments that you love to wear. And one aspect of those beautiful garments is knitting with variegated yarn. And sometimes those garments might not come out as lovely as you think because you don't love the way the variegated yarn knits up. Now, I thought we had actually exhausted the topic. I thought we had talked about every possible thing about variegated yarn that we could. But we're back for one more video because as I was reading through the comments that a lot of you left on those videos, I realized there was more to say, but you had more things to say. I didn't have anything else to say, but you had more tips and advice and some strong opinions to share about variegated yarn. So I thought it was worth sitting down and discussing those and highlighting some of those comments that were left on these videos. So that's what this whole video is going to be about. I'm just going to be sharing your comments and maybe sharing my own thoughts about them, but it's really to sort of give this some more of a two-way conversation, because sometimes just sitting here and talking to a camera feels kind of one way. So this is a little way that we can sort of have more of a conversation about the topic. Now, I do want to say one thing that came out in just a few of the comments was they thought that I was being a little negative about variegated yarns. And that's very valid. I can see where you would get that thought, because for me, when it comes to knitting with variegated yarn, and I have done plenty of that in the past, when I knit plain stockinette projects and it does what to me looks like weird patterning and flashing and pooling, I don't love it. Don't really care for it. Don't like the way those yarns end up looking in my projects. And that's totally fine. Many of these comments were from people who love the way that variegated yarn does its patterning and its pooling and its flashing. And that's totally fine as well. And I want to highlight some of those comments actually, because there are plenty of people who love variegated yarns and love to let them do their thing. And they pointed out that they wished that I had said that in the videos. But I guess I'm the one recording them. And for me, I don't love that that happens with variegated yarns. And if I had recorded and that had been like the focus of these videos, it would have been one very short video would be to just say, oh, let variegated yarn do its thing and knit it the way it is. That's totally fine and valid, but for some of us who don't love the way that looks, but we still want to use variegated yarns, we have to find other ways to highlight those colors and hopefully reduce some of that patterning and flashing and pooling because we don't like it. So it doesn't matter which camp you fall in, both are perfectly valid. We all have preferences about the colors we like to wear or knit with, and the designs we like to use, the stitch patterns we like to use. We all have preferences. Totally fine. You do you. You knit the way you want. I did not intend these videos to be negative in any way, but I intended them to be a tool and a resource for knitters who struggle with using variegated yarns and who don't really appreciate all those colors. But I do want to highlight some of those comments because they are worth sharing. There are people who do love to see how those yarns are going to act. So I've got my notes here, because we have a lot of comments to share. So let's start with some of these comments that really truly appreciate the joys of variegated yarn. So Dorothy says, I love knitting socks with variegated yarn. It's like a mystery quilt. The surprise pattern is fun and makes me want to knit faster to see the pattern develop. And the next one, I listened to the end to see if you actually like these yarns. All of your comments concern fixing problems. I love the color changes of variegated yarns, and I can't put the project down because each stitch adds new personality. I wish this video shared my joy. And Heather, exactly. Pooling or flashing is not a problem and is what makes knitting with variegated yarn fun. It keeps interest while knitting, especially on large swathes of stockinette or for garments. So I think we need to have a poll for this, because I wanted to share these comments because I'm on the opposite side of the fence. I don't love the way that they pool and flash, and I can appreciate seeing the colors come up on my needle and the next color and seeing what's going to happen as I'm knitting. And these comments really highlight that they love that. That's totally fine. For me, that's not generally my experience with variegated yarns, but I wanted to share these opinions because I'm sure there are other people who feel just like these commenters. I think we're going to have a poll this week. I'll try to remember to put one up, and we're going to have to find out how many people just love to let variegated yarn do its thing and how many people would like to find some way to minimize the patterning and flashing and pooling, because it would be interesting to know how many people are in each camp, I suppose, like where you fall on that spectrum. But I just wanted to share these comments because they are perfectly valid, and a reason that a lot of people really like variegated yarns, because they want to see those colors show up on their needle as they're knitting, and they want to see the patterns that develop with that yarn. And a few more to go. Happy Crafty Homemaker. I love how variegated yarns each can give such different effects from project to project. That's so true. You can knit the same skein and knit, like, say, a sock or a sweater, and those yarns are going to look completely different. That is really a cool thing about variegated yarns. And then this one, I find variegated yarns are my go-to anytime I've run out of scraps and want a mindless project. I'll make a granny blanket or garter blanket, and the key is it falls as it falls. They almost always look a little funky, but they're somehow the coziest. Now, I wanted to thank you all for sharing those comments. Even when you disagree with me, I suppose, then I still want to hear what you have to say. And it's perfectly valid for us to have different opinions about variegated yarns and how we like to use them. But I wanted to share these differing opinions, and I'm sure that you probably have an opinion as well. Maybe you like to just knit with variegated yarns and let them do their thing, and you didn't feel like you could speak out because I was on the other side of the fence, because I don't really like to let variegated yarns do their thing. But I'd love to hear from you. Which side of this fence do you fall on? Do you like to just let them do their thing? Then feel free to share that in the comments as well. Now, the rest of our comments we're going to go through are more about advice on using variegated yarns, things that we haven't already addressed. The first one is about spirals in the round. Now, Joan says, if you like variegated yarn knit flat, you should knit variegated yarn in the round. I pull out 2 yards of the yarn and check to see how long it takes for the colors to repeat. If there's a repeat within the 2 yards, you can make some beautiful spiral striped hats. Cast on with a US 6 16-inch needle until I've reached and overlapped the repeat. I usually do the ribbing for a spiral striped hat with a solid color and then start with the body of the hat. So that's a really good tip. If you can see that there is a repeat within 2 yards, then you can get a spiral in the round. So really good tip, Joan. Thank you for sharing that. And that sort of brings me to the next topic, which is assigned and planned pooling, which I actually thought were the same terms for a long time. I thought they were the same thing and they were just used interchangeably, but they're actually 2 different things. And what Joan is talking about here with the spiral in the hat sort of falls within that planned pooling category. With planned pooling, you're taking your gauge and the length of the color repeats to determine how to knit it to get a pattern to develop, like a spiral in a hat. Sometimes you'll see like plaid kind of patterns and things like that. Now, when I Googled this, I saw a lot of crochet, but there is some knitting as well where you're using your hook size or your needle size to get that pattern to develop in the yarn itself. You're not doing any special stitches. You're just checking your gauge and adjusting your needle and hook size to get that pattern to emerge, like Joan talks about in that spiral. She's trying to get a spiral, so she generally uses a US 6 needle and checks to see if there's like a color change within 2 yards, and then she knows that she's going to get a spiral. So this is a planned pooling, where you're planning out with your needle or hook size to get that yarn to make a specific pattern. And Rachel mentions this. My favorite technique I've seen with variegated yarn is planned pooling, where you use stitch counts with the colors to make the pattern that looks like checkered or like plaid. It's time for yarn has a good intro to crochet. Planned pooling I've seen it in knit as well. I just haven't done it. And along with that, I wanted to mention one I've mentioned in a previous video. Kitten Corleone talks about an article on the Yarn Sub website that uses stitch counts and a very specific skein of yarn. So it's not for you to plug in your own numbers and see how it's going to look, but it's just sort of a little tool that shows a specific yarn and whether you're knitting flat or in the round and the number of stitches, and you can use the little slider and move it back and forth to see how that yarn can create different patterns. And you can actually get different patterns depending on the stitch count and depending on whether you're knitting flat or in the round. So it's worth checking out this article to see how you can plan out your knitting depending on your needle size and whether you're knitting flat or in the round to get an interesting pattern to develop. Now, assigned pooling, on the other hand, is where you are assigning a specific stitch pattern to a specific color. Now, I first read about this in the Margaret Radcliffe's The Color Knitting Techniques book that I've recommended before. I'll have a link for that down below as well. But in that book, she talks about how, like, let's say you have a 2-color yarn. So you've got a lot of one color, let's say a navy blue. So that you're going to knit in whatever your basic stitch pattern. Let's just say you're going to knit it in stockinette stitch. And then maybe there is a hot pink as an accent color. Now, whenever you get to that hot pink color, you might purl it, or you might slip the stitches, or you might do a linen stitch pattern. You might do something else besides that stockinette stitch when that new color emerges. Or you might create some other sort of like decorative stitch, so this is what assigned pooling is, like you're assigning a specific stitch pattern to a specific color within that yarn. Yarn Journey's Melanie left a comment about Dawn Barker, and Dawn Barker is a designer who specializes in using this technique of assigned pooling, where she has different designs where when you have a different color in that yarn, then you are doing some special stitch pattern or stitch technique to that color to create the designs. So I'm going to link to Dawn Barker's. She has a whole section on Ravelry just for assigned pooling, so you can see how this looks for knitters. I'm sure there are methods as well for doing this with crochet, but when I see it with crochet, I see the planned pooling where they're using the hook and changing the hook size to get like the plaid pattern or something like that. But assigned pooling is something I'm seeing quite often in knitting. I don't see as much planned pooling. There is some, but I feel like I see a lot more of the assigned pooling, at least for myself. That's what I'm seeing. And Melanie also recommends a shawl in this comment, the Bright Side Shawl pattern, which is another one that is done with sort of that 2-color variegated yarn. It's an asymmetrical triangle shawl, knit in stockinette stitch, and then when you get to that second color, you are purling it on the right side or knitting it on the wrong side to give you a little bit of like garter stitch texture within the shawl as well, to highlight that color variation. Now, one of the things that we did discuss in our videos is stitch patterns. We talked about a lot of different stitch patterns that you can use to highlight variegated yarns, but one that I had not mentioned is drop stitches. So Kit and Corleone mentions them. Drop stitch patterns look great in variegated yarns with quick color changes. So I hadn't even considered them for some reason, but yes, I can imagine that dropped stitch designs. What was that? There was a scarf or a shawl that was super popular a while ago. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but that had drop stitches in it. I imagine that would look really lovely in variegated yarn. Then Siobhan says, I recently had this dilemma with wanting to make a sweater out of a highly variegated yarn. I ended up determining that a crochet top crocheted across from wrist to wrist instead of top down or bottom up with a half double crochet stitch works amazing for breaking up the color pooling. So yes, crochet stitches are definitely a good way to use variegated yarns. You're going to get different effects because crochet and knitting produce different looks. And Susan says another technique for using variegated yarns is short rows, and we didn't even touch short rows at all in these videos. I'm thinking of free-form short rows following the color patterning in the yarn to form little hills in the knitting. I've experimented some, and it doesn't have to be exact as long as you compensate for the previous hills eventually in subsequent rows by making more hills. You can keep the knitting pretty flat. This might be interesting for yarns with random and fairly short stretches of color. It's all a bit rogue, but it's fun. Of course, there are plenty of conventional short row patterns that make good use of long stretches of color in a more orderly fashion. And speaking of short rows, somebody recommended the Papillon shawl, and variegated yarn for the main color is fabulous. I'm making one right now and I love it. So yes, the Papillon shawl is a beautiful design. I really need to knit one of those. And it uses short rows. So definitely when you're knitting short rows, you're basically like stopping before the end of the row and working back in the other direction and not finishing with the stitches on that particular row. So you'd work say there's 30 stitches, you maybe work 25 and then you stop, you turn it around and you start working back in the other direction, ignoring the last 5 stitches or whatever. So you're working short rows, you're working short of the end of the row technically. So that can change the way the color patterning repeat happens, and the Papillon shawl would definitely be a good one for trying out some variegated yarns. Another pattern recommendation that uses sort of this assigned pooling is the Geode cowl. Critter Create recommends this one. She's been eyeing it for a while and has been inspired to look for the yarn for it. So this one uses like a 4x4 rib as sort of the background color. And then when you get to that secondary color in your skein, you do seed stitch instead. And it does create this really cool effect that does kind of remind me of a geode. I think it's a really cool way to get some texture and use that like maybe 2-color variegated yarn. Another pattern recommendation is the Hitchhiker scarf because of its changing stitch counts. So Nancy says, I think there are a few other things that can break up pooling and still allow you to use those beautiful variegated hand-dyed skeins. You can use helical knitting with 2 skeins or pulling from both ends of the skein. Picking projects that have rapid stitch count changes will help break up pooling. One of my favorites is the Hitchhiker scarf. You're always increasing on one end, but you bind off some stitches on the other. That changing stitch count will move your colors around. That's a really great tip, and Martina Behme, the designer of the Hitchhiker scarf, she has some other ones as well that do that same sort of thing where you're like increasing on one side and then binding off on the other. So, and I think the Hitchhiker is also done in garter stitch as well, which is a great pattern for variegated yarns. So just really good comments here, lots of good advice. Thank you all so much for sharing your comments, and we have just a few more. Linda says, I had a beautiful, gorgeous, heart-stopping skein of yarn that was horrid when I started knitting it up in a stockinette stitch sweater. I unraveled the whole thing and decided to try it in a weaving pattern. Perfect. So I think the thing with variegated yarn is to find the right project for it, which is the huge challenge. And yes, it can be. But that, I think, is the whole goal of these videos, is finding what you love about variegated yarns and highlighting that. For me, I love the colors. I have some here and I love the bright, bold colors in them, but I know if I knit them in plain stockinette, I wouldn't love them that much. Perhaps you would, that's totally fine. But for me, I have to find some other things to do to help me appreciate those colors, but still create a project I'm going to love. And one more comment from Angela, who recommends another book. I've already mentioned Margaret Radcliffe's book, The Guide to Color Knitting Techniques. She recommends Artful Color Mindful Knits by Laura Militzer Bryant. So the book is out of print, but I've seen it when I did a quick search on like some used book sites and on eBay. So if you have been enjoying this series and you want to dive deeper into the topic of variegated yarn, then it might be worth looking for this book as well. Now, this is one of those topics I feel like we could definitely come back to in the future and address in more videos or more swatches. I have more ideas about swatching, perhaps doing some swatches in the round and comparing those to swatches that are knit flat. Just so many more things that we could discuss perhaps in the future. I think for now we've talked as much as I want to about this topic, but I would appreciate your thoughts and opinions. Even if you don't agree with me, I want to highlight those as well, because there are plenty of people who love variegated yarns and the way that they knit up when they're just letting their patterning do their thing, and that's totally fine and valid, and I want to highlight those comments as well. So I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on variegated yarn, and if you want to continue seeing what else was in this series, I put together a playlist of all of these videos, so you can click right there, and I'll see you in the next video.